guys, it's Elise and welcome back to My Cupcake Addiction. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make a delicious deconstructed tiramisu that tastes every bit as good as it looks, and it looks amazing. I'm really excited to have partnered with Starbucks Coffee on their Starbucks at Home range. So I'm going to show you guys how to make a restaurant quality dessert that you can do from the comfort of your own home to pair with a delicious cup of coffee that you can also brew at home. It's awesome being able to get the same taste and quality as I would from a Starbucks cafe from the comfort of my own kitchen. Let's get started. You're going to need 250 mils of heavy cream. I've got a 200 ml portion and a 50 ml portion. I've also got 225 grams of good quality dark chocolate, 12 ladyfinger sponge finger biscuits. I've got a little bit of cocoa or chocolate powder, and of course coffee. I'm using Starbucks Pike Place fresh beans. I love grinding my own beans so they're freshly ground when I make my cup of coffee, and I'm going to use the French press method today because it's my favorite. I've also got 2 takeaway cups. Kind of weird since we're not taking coffee away, but I'll be showing you how to use those in our dessert. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is I'm not going to brew my cup of coffee until my dessert's nearly ready, but I'm going to make a really strong coffee mixture which is going to go into the mousse portion of our dessert. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of my freshly ground coffee and pour over just a half a cup of boiling hot water. I'm going to let that sit in my press for a couple of minutes until I press it so that it can infuse nicely and give me a beautiful strong coffee flavour. So while that's doing its thing, I've got my divided portion of cream, so just my 50 millilitres, and then 75 grams of my 225 grams of dark chocolate. I'm going to pour that cream directly over the dark chocolate, and we're going to microwave that on 30-second intervals until it is completely smooth and glossy and there are no lumps or bumps. So you should have a really nice, smooth flowing chocolate syrup. And now that our coffee's had about 10 minutes or so to stand, I'm going to plunge it. And then I'm going to pour it into one of my coffee mugs and I'm going to put it in the freezer to let it rapidly cool. This one's going off into the freezer until it's completely cool to touch, and I'm also going to let my chocolate mixture just sit at room temperature, again until it's cool to touch. Coffee and chocolate are both cooling, so I've got my melted plain chocolate. This is not the chocolate with cream in it. This is the other 175 grams of just melted dark chocolate. I'm going to take my 2 takeaway cups, and you can see I've picked relatively small sized cups, and I'm going to pour about half of my chocolate into each cup. All right, now you want to take your chocolate and just tilt it around the outside edges. Now you don't want these to be too thick, so I like to kind of drip out a lot of my excess chocolate so that I've got a really nice sort of a fine, thin edge. And then just to neaten off the top, I'm just going to run a knife right around. These ones are going to set in the freezer. I want to set them in the freezer, A, so that I get to my dessert quicker, but also so they're really nicely set and that chocolate contracts away from those takeaway cups, making them really easy to get out without cracking. The key part for this dessert, apart from our delicious chocolate cups and our ladyfinger biscuits, is going to hinge on our coffee-infused chocolate mousse. So I'm going to take my heavy cream or whipping cream and I'm going to whip it to soft peaks. So a soft peak is when your beaters just start to leave their beater mark in the cream. You can see there it's definitely got a lot more body, but it's still just running or falling straight off my spatula. This is because we're going to continue to whip it as we add in our other ingredients. So I'm going to take this chocolate mixture now and we're going to fold all of that into our cream. And the reason that you mix the chocolate with the cream to begin with is so that as your melted chocolate hits that cold cream, it doesn't all turn into like little hardened chunks of chocolate along the way. A nice vigorous mix, and even doing this, it's continuing to whip that cream. I'm going to take my cooled coffee mixture and I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons. This is going to take it from a chocolate mousse to an espresso coffee mousse. If your coffee's at all warm at this stage, it's actually going to split the cream in your mousse, so you want to make sure it's really nice and cool. I'm going to pop my completed mousse into the fridge. That'll start to set it a little firmer, and it's also going to wait until my cups are ready to be moussed. Now it's time to brew my coffee to complete the perfect pairing. Not only is this going to be drunk with the dessert, it's also going to form part of the dessert. It's the ultimate relationship made in heaven. So I'm going to make enough for 2 cups of coffee, and I'm just making mine as per the packet directions. French press style again. And then I'm going to let that sit and infuse for about 10 minutes before I plunge for maximum flavour. We can start getting ready to put our dessert together now, and of course presentation is everything. We don't want to go to all this trouble to make the perfect cup of coffee and the perfect dessert and then just serve it on any old plate. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take a few of my coffee beans and just kind of put them in one corner of the plate. Now I'm going to take a little sifter, and this is where it always gets a little bit messy, so I like to put my cocoa in over the sink first to get that initial little puff of cocoa out of the way. And I'm just going to spread cocoa very gently, or chocolate powder, just over the tops of my beans. So I'm just tapping it ever so gently, and I want it a little bit darker on the corner of my plate than as it gets sort of closer to the middle, sort of like it's fading in and out. I always think with any dessert, presentation is the thing that gets missed. We go to all this trouble to prepare perfect, delicious desserts with amazing quality ingredients, but really a couple of simple things can make the presentation really pop. This is always my favorite part of any bake, is bringing it all together. So I'm going to take my little sponge fingers and I'm just going to line them up. And these are the classic tiramisu biscuit or cookie, but normally they're layered inside the tiramisu. Not today. I'm stacking them kind of like a really cute little game of Jenga, and I want to put those in the middle of the plate so they can dip in coffee or mousse, whichever they choose. And we'll just check on our chocolate cups. These ones are straight out of the freezer, so you may even hear them contracting slightly. Using these paper cups means that I can just gently push the base and slide out your gorgeous little chocolate cup. One of the things that I love about this recipe is normally I'd tell you to either temper high quality chocolate or use compound chocolate, but because we're going to keep these chilled right up until serving because they've got that mousse inside, you can use a super high quality, beautiful dark chocolate and not worry about tempering it. So you get those great high quality ingredients to pair with your high quality dessert and high quality coffee, but you don't have to worry about the extra effort of the trouble of tempering. Now I popped my mousse into a piping bag just with an open round piping tip. You can also just spoon it in, but I think it's a little bit neater if you've got access to either a piping bag with a tip or even something like a snap seal bag, just to help with the distribution and make it a little bit less messy. Make sure you divide evenly here. We don't want anyone missing out on any of that mousse. Beautiful. Those are our chocolate cups filled with that beautiful espresso mousse. A couple of cute little gold spoons. You can use any spoon. I'm just trying to team with the theme here. And then the very final thing we're going to do is take that freshly brewed coffee. I'm going to press through the French press. Tiramisu and coffee is literally the best combination in the world. Be careful not to get any coffee drips on your beautifully presented plate. And we've made deconstructed tiramisu. You've got espresso mousse in an edible, beautiful dark chocolate cup. You've got your lady fingers there that we can dip into the coffee and then into the mousse. You've got the beautiful crunchy chocolate around the outside that you can break off as you're eating. And of course, you've got your fresh brewed cup of coffee. That cup of coffee is going to be enjoyed with the dessert and also as the dessert, because we're kind of going to be dipping and eating and drinking and dipping and eating and tasting as we go. This is the ultimate dessert coffee pairing. If you guys like me love a coffee with dessert, you can head to starbucks.com/@home for other desserts that pair perfectly with that cup of coffee. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and thanks so much to Starbucks for teaming up with me on it. As always guys, thanks very much for watching and enjoy your deconstructed tiramisus.